So I thought it would be fun to start a series with the kids where we sit down and we talk about all kinds of topics. We're going to talk about foster care topics, adoption, just like maybe things that parents and kids don't agree with. Or I just thought we could get really interesting with this. And so it's going to be a parent perspective versus a teen perspective. And we'll see where it's the same and where it's different. So today's question, and I want to be real super honest, like I just want to get real takes, and sometimes the kids might know the question beforehand and sometimes they might not know the question beforehand. But I want you guys to be as honest as you can be.
Okay.
But if you're not comfortable answering something, you don't have to answer. Today's topic is, if you could change anything about the foster care system, what would you change?
Them wanting reunification.
Oh,
after the first time, people make mistakes.
Yes.
Maybe you just got in a bad relationship, you didn't know how to get out. Sometimes the system can help get out of those relationships.
So basically what you're saying is that if you have been removed from your parents more than twice?
Once.
More than once?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you've been removed from your parents more than once, then it should be an automatic termination of rights. What I'll say about that is, I would think, like my feeling would be, if you were being removed, like let's say a third time, right? You've been removed twice already, so third strike, you're out.
Yep.
So you've had 2 chances to, your child has been removed, you've gotten them back now twice, and that third time, I would say, I agree with that. Now, do you guys know why they don't do that?
Why?
Do you guys know?
They don't actually care about
in our
staff.
situation, our birth mom, termination would happen, and then while her rights were getting terminated, she'd get really good, she'd get better, and she'd get a job, she'd get housing and everything, and then as soon as they
would remove the termination trial.
She'd she'd fall off again, get kicked out, do whatever, and then they'd file it again, and that just kept on happening over and over and over.
So it's a really sticky, I feel like it's a really sticky topic or situation because everybody always asks the question, why are they doing this? Why? I thought this was supposed to be the best interest of the child, and it actually isn't. It's never about the best interest of the child. The GAL is there, which is the kid's attorney. The GAL is there to fight for the best interest of the child, but the entire case is about parental rights. And so they have to, they can't just take that away because it has to be proven that that parent isn't able to do it, and they have to go through this big, huge, long process. And so it's always about parental rights. And it becomes a sticky situation if you just take somebody's rights away, because then they could just go out and do that to anyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they could sue the system, too.
Yeah, yes. And it could go, the other way, where the parents sue the state. So that is why they don't do that. Although I do agree with you that there should be a limit.
I do feel like with that thing is, okay, if they were the first time, if they were in an abusive relationship, and the kids were being beaten or abused or something like that, and then it happens again that second time, they get removed a second time because of that, it shouldn't be reunification, but they do still put that in there.
Yes.
They put reunification because they don't really care what happens to the child after the parents get parental rights. They might check up on the child once a month, but once a month isn't going to do anything. Once a month they just don't beat that child for that week period. All you're doing is you're putting the kids back in that situation to get more traumatized and not actually caring about what's best for the child. Nobody cares. For all they care, until that child is dead, they can't remove that parents because there is no proof. The bruises
yes,
end
I
up
see what you're saying. And you're saying, I mean, you know, this is coming from your experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I completely get where you're coming from.
Again, with that, I feel like when they do that, the case, when they're trying to file for termination, they should also do background checks on the family, like see if they have a domestic against them.
Yeah.
If it's a regular thing, and
You're talking about
the parents.
The parents
have
okay.
a domestic against them.
Yeah.
Because if they do, I feel like that should be accounted for. Like, oh, maybe they shouldn't go back with them.
Right.
Or like they have charges of some sort.
Yeah.
Like even if it's animal cruelty, that doesn't mean it's not gonna turn into
that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I feel like they should also get word from like other, not family, because a lot of the time family will lie for family and those kinds of situations.
Yeah.
But it just depends on the circumstances. But I feel like maybe old friends that aren't really close with them anymore, possibly old teachers that might have saw something happen to them when they were younger.
Right.
Like a background check on seeing why
The whole picture.
the whole picture instead
Doing
of just
more investigating.
exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of word of mouth.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, what would you change if you could pick one thing or a couple things or whatever? What would you change?
The big thing is how you treat the child and the whole entire thing, because it can be very confusing for a child going through that. And like, I don't know, it was very confusing for me because for us, we went back with our birth mom, went with you guys, went through like several different homes before. Like, it was so confusing for a child. Like, especially for me, I thought, oh, these are my parents, these are my parents, these are my parents, and never like, just treating the situation differently, and like, I don't know how to put this.
Well, in your experience, you were removed at 18 months the first time. And then there were 3 subsequent removals. The third one, you ended up with us.
Yeah.
And the third and fourth one, you ended up with us. And so I could see where that would be very confusing for a younger child who is moving, you know, you keep getting removed and going to different people.
When I finally came to you guys, I was 3 turning 4, so I was in that stage where I was like, okay, these are my parents.
Yeah.
But I was in like, you know, foster care, so I was with a bunch of different people.
Yeah, you were 4 when you came to us. But yes, I mean, I agree with that. That has to be very confusing as a young child like that.
I'd say the first 3 to 4 years are the most important for a child, especially because we did a school assignment on cognitive development.
Yes.
And that's when you like learn. That's when you do your basis of learning your life skills in life.
Yeah, your brain grows the most between the ages of 0 and 5. It's also where you build or learn how to create good attachments.
And really, yeah.
Yep. It's where you learn about emotions, like a lot of emotional development happens, and so
for children in the system and not having those attachments or having those attachments and for them to just be ripped away from those and be put with someone else, it can be very damaging to someone.
that would be interesting to look into to see, as long as a child has a stable, good home, like let's say you were in foster care, but you moved homes. Like I wonder, could you still form good attachments and be okay, even if you moved, as long as each one of those homes were good? Or would that hinder your attachment development still? You know, does it have to be a bad, you know, situation, or can it be a good situation but just a lot of different people? That'd be interesting, you know.
And the other thing I want to do, like say about I want to change the system, is sibling relationships.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, because with us we were able to, like with mom and dad, they wanted to keep siblings together, and we were thankfully able to stay together. But I watched a lot of videos of siblings who weren't able to stay together, and mom watches someone whose siblings weren't able to stay with them. And it's just very sad because, like, that's your blood sibling. And, like, blood doesn't mean everything, but it does mean something.
Yeah.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a point where we were split apart.
Yes, and one of your...
I don't know how long it was, but yeah, it was me and Elena, John and Emma, and then Isabella was the youngest then, and she was all by herself, and that was really hard. You know, because you're like, where'd they go? You know?
Right.
What, these are my... We've all been through trauma together.
Yeah.
So, you know, for us it's important to stay together.
Yeah.
So, and then another one is we were going to foster a couple of kids. It was.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we were gonna foster a couple of kids and potentially adopt them, but the state said we couldn't adopt anybody else except for siblings. So they ended up not staying with us, and then after that they all got split up.
Yeah, we were going to keep them all together.
Yeah.
They were a group of 5,
Mm-hmm.
and the state, was worried that we would end up having too many teenagers all at once, and so they said,
Look at you now.
no.
I know, seriously.
Well, they knew we already had all of you,
Yeah.
and so they were worried about adding more teenagers on top of what we already would have,
Yeah.
and so they ended up saying no in that circumstance because we asked for an exception, and they ended up saying no because of that. And then, those kids ended up all getting split.
One
Which is sad.
ended up aging out, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. Makes me want to cry. To take that away from them and put them in a home all by themselves or with other kids, you know, it's just like they're gonna feel like it's gonna feel like going to a different school as a teenager. You're all alone. You don't know what's going on.
Right.
You know, you're a little like, ugh. So.
And for, like, someone who's already had their parents taken away and then you take their siblings away.
Yes.
It's just...
Okay, Rosie, you're next. What would you change?
Okay, I would change a lot of things. I mean, there's so many things to change. One of them is these foster parents.
Okay.
There are some very sad cases out there that, you know, and that parents are just wanting it for the money, you know, the extra paycheck. And that does happen.
That does
That
happen.
happens a lot.
That does happen,
Or we heard this one story that these parents adopted the kids and then ended up beating them.
Yes.
You know?
They were abused after being adopted, yes.
And it's just like, I feel like we need to do, if you know that they're just there for the money, don't put kids with them. Because I feel like some, what are they called? Caseworkers.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They know.
Yeah, you would think that they would have at least an idea. And I feel like the difference is, does that family seem to have a genuine interest in the child?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I feel like that was one thing that Sean and I did really well, was that anytime kids came into our home, the first day we showed a true, genuine interest in the kids.
Yeah.
Because we were truly, genuinely interested in them, their life, you know, what's going on. And so I feel like you can tell, though, when somebody has a genuine interest and when they don't.
Yeah.
Next.
The quiet one.
John, I know, Mr. Quiet.
I was like, I want to change a thing.
He's not quiet in real life.
Just looking over at the food over there.
Okay, what would you change?
I guess first, you know, back to what Emma, you guys were mainly talking about, rights. Not only that, but also how foster care likes to handle everything. You know, how it dragged on so long. They're really lenient with the rules, or like, you know, the lawyer on their side's like, you know, I really chipped my fingernail. I've been having a hard time. Let's just give it like 5 more months. How about that?
No freaking joke.
Or like, you know, I have a cousin. You know, he's new here. I'm gonna let him take over. And if he doesn't work out, we can come back to me. That's for like what, 1.5 years of time.
Yeah,
I'm having a migraine. We'll come back in 2 years.
That does happen.
It's annoying because I think they just need to like be able to put it to it straight, like set a certain date and like nothing can change.
Yep.
Like unless it's like severe, like one of the kids are choking to death and they, you know, are in the hospital. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes,
They
it should
can't-
be something major.
Yep.
Yes.
They can't really just like keep procrastinating it longer and longer just to like, they just find loopholes. That's really it.
Yes.
Cutting off all the
Yes.
loopholes there are.
I have to totally agree with that.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we have found that court gets continued all the time, and your next court date is usually 3 months, after, this one, so you didn't get to have court this time, but now you have to wait 3 more months, and then if something happens at that court date, right, now it's 3 more months, and it just keeps pushing it out, and I feel like, you're screwing with kids' lives.
Yes.
I mean, how is that even something that can happen? How can that be a reality? I don't get that. And maybe a caseworker or an attorney or somebody could speak differently to that. Mm-hmm. But I wholeheartedly agree with you, because that is absolutely ridiculous. The kids end up being in the system 10 times longer than they should, because we can't do check-ins, and you can't. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I do gotta say, it gets to a point, we've done it for like years on it. It dragged out for years. How many was it? Like 5, 6?
Oh, yeah, it was, it ended up being total 4.5 years, but by the time you guys were all adopted.
It just, like you said, it really messes with the kid's life, especially since it's dragged on for years and years on end. Because I remember me personally, after like 2 or 3 years of, being with you guys, I know we weren't adopted yet and stuff, mm-hmm. but it's like, every week it's like, oh, you gotta come for this day to do something, or just constantly bouncing. It just becomes hard, and you get to a point where you're just like, can we just call it all off in a way? Like, can we just end it? Because even if it's basically ended, you're just waiting for a day. They still keep bringing it back, and it's like,
mm-hmm. Yep.
Can we just move on, please?
Yeah, it does not let you move on.
They won't let you.
No, yeah.
And then you have more of a chance, I feel like, of moving homes, and you have more of a chance of losing friends, and there's just so many negative things that come out of all of those. Oh, no court? Okay, let's just wait. Oh, no court again? Okay, let's just wait. It's just, yeah.
What I will say about that is, like, I feel like a lot of systems are failed when it comes to, like, the legal system.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And I think it is because some of these laws are older.
Maybe.
And maybe it just needs to be, like, rewritten.
Needs a refresh.
Refreshed. Like, we need to go through and...
Yeah.
So that we can have a better...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have probably a bazillion things that I could change about the system.
Okay, we have all day.
But I think one of the things that stands out in my mind as being my top is actually one of the things that we just talked about. And it's kind of it's a subject where I feel like you think one way or you think another. In Nebraska, I'm not sure what it's called in other states, but I know in Nebraska, they have something that's called family findings. And so for the entire duration that the child is in foster care, they are continuously looking for family to help take care of that child. And so this happened with Jade and Lily, and this happened also with your sibling group. And what happens is you'll have the kids and you've had them for, let's say, 6 months, 8 months, a year and a half, and they're still continuously looking for family out there somewhere that, that the kids don't even know.
I know, seriously.
And they're contacting them and seeing if they would take them, and because biological family trumps anyone else. Now, I get that to a certain extent, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I can't imagine anyone else helping to take care of Eden, even though she's not in foster care or anything. I'm just speaking to, that's my grandchild biologically, and I just can't imagine anybody else taking care of her. When kids are placed in a home that's a good home, and they're, it's stable, and they keep looking for these people, and then eventually they'll find people. They were at one point going to take Jade and Lily out of our home, even though we had said we would adopt them. And that it ended up falling through. But they were in some, like, I don't know, they were some other state, like Maine or something like that, Delaware, or I don't know. And they didn't know them, they had never met them, and they were basically strangers to them. But at this point, we weren't strangers, right? We were their mom and dad. Mm-hmm. Same thing with you guys. You guys were going to get sent to someone else after we had you for, it was at least a year.
What state? What state?
It was Missouri.
I could have lived in Missouri.
And
Missouri girl.
oh my gosh.
Okay.
And
Just one
but we were already, mom and dad to you.
After the first day you guys were.
And
'cause of
and you had school, you had your friends at school, and and so at this time when you're in foster care, I do feel like there is something to be said for stability. Now, after adoption, right, we're a big family, and we know, right, we talk a lot about we're home when we're together, and we have moved, and but I feel like during the whole foster care stuff, we gave you a ton of stability, and we really built our family.
Yeah.
And so I do think that it makes me mad that they do this family finding, even though I understand wanting to have biological family, take care of the kids. I think that there's a point where that should stop and not happen. If the home that they're in is willing to adopt.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Especially if the person's going to be strangers, then
Yeah.
there's no even point.
Right.
There's no point to that. It's
I
what.
wouldn't be happy.
Well,
in
like-
Missouri.
Well, for us, it would have probably been our birth mom's biological family, 2 cousins twice removed,
yeah.
something stupid
Right.
like that.
Right. Yes. And let's just say, it could be any of the houses, but I'd be especially curious in ours.
Okay.
What did you pretend was okay, but it really wasn't?
Something I realized was getting older. So she had a rule, what stays in the house, what happens in the house stays. And as a kid, and this also goes to kind of hating on parenting, you should never really tell your kid that. Because honestly, it becomes hard, because what we were going through, that was horrible, but you don't want to tell other people because your mother told you not to.
Well, you
Right.
feel
And then you're asked, but you're also talking to other kids. And it's when you get older, you'll be able to see, but as a kid, you don't understand that that's bad or that's good, or
Right.
so you don't really think my mom just told me not to tell anyone that. It's probably just a little secret,
Yeah.
like a white lie or something.
I think what's hard is that in foster care, there's so many fine lines. Like, for instance, what you just said, in a family, there are certain things, right, that stay within your family. They're not horrific things that are happening, or they're not dangerous things. They're
Or
just
if somebody had cancer.
yeah.
You wouldn't go out and
go tell everybody. Right. So there are things that happen in life that do stay within a family, but it's hard to explain where that line happens, because there are things that no, if that happens, you need to go tell someone.
Absolutely.
Or if this happens, you need to tell someone. But how do you explain to a 5-year-old or an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old, where that line is? Same thing with stranger danger. These kids are being picked up by these visitation workers to be taken, and the visitation companies change and the workers change, and yet you want to teach your child what stranger danger is, but how do you do that when they're constantly having to go with strangers?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things about foster care that are hard.
Not just foster care, but also the real world. If anyone with a rule of authority, a doctor or a cop or anything like that, there was multiple tests I saw, but if you just anyone with superiority over you or most people, and as a kid, you're taught, when a police officer tells you something, you better do it.
Yeah.
But all they have to do is just pretend they're a police officer, and you were told that by trusted people, that you should trust those people, but those, it's
and there are
a lot of
times where
confusion.
sometimes those people, there are good and bad to everything, to every profession, to every, and so you have to be able to know in your mind where those lines are.
I remember when we got picked up the 3rd time, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Yep, we were in the middle of doing school. I remember I was in the guidance counselor's office, and we just got called to the office, and from, my little kid memory, we just got told, we went outside and we went into a random person's van with a random person and got told, this is a good thing,
Yeah. how confusing.
This is safe. You
Right,
know?
right.
It's like, what?
And you think about that, and you were 8, 7, 5, 4,
Yeah.
and then Izzy was 2. Well, okay, I think that we had, I don't know, a really good conversation about all the things. Of course, there's probably a million other things we could think of that we would change.
Yeah.
But it's definitely interesting to get the kids' perspective, and also knowing, right? You guys have been there.
Yeah.
Right? You guys have been in foster care, and for not just for a little time, for a long time, and 4 different removals. So you guys definitely have the experience. Okay, guys, that is it for today's video. Woo! We'll have to think of what our topic is going to be next time.
Comment down below.
Yeah, if you have any ideas on topics we should do with the kids, a sit down, right? Like parent versus teens. Let us know in the comments, and we'll write your ideas down and probably do it in a future video.
Don't be nervous. You know, I always know, even I look back watching videos, to write a little comment about something. Just say it.
Just say it.
Just say it. Let's
Say it
see
out
what
loud.
goes wrong. No.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, that sounds like a threat.
Listen, I would
Try
say we do look at our comments like a lot.
Yeah, I love looking at the comments.
So when you get a good comment about like your family or about yourself even, it's always so nice.
Okay, well, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.